We can no longer pretend that this is just a coincidence. Whenever Jimin and Jungkook interact, there is always an overreaction. What they do is often very simple, just a look. Smile. Sit close. Normal things do two people who are close, but oddly enough, for some, these little moments are always considered wrong. That it was as if their closeness was something to be questioned, not because of what they did, but because of who did it. Throughout the year 2025, we see one thing very clear: Jimin and Jungkook are almost always together, since they left the military. That closeness has not diminished, that it's getting more visible, and this closeness is not new. They spent 2 whole years together in the military, are on the same base, share routines, exercises and heavy physical and mental stress. They even shared a room. This is not a fan assumption, this is a fact that they themselves share. However, even in the military environment, their bond is under attack. Some say Jungkook is uncomfortable, some say Jimin is too dependent, some claim their togetherness is a burden. Both of them have said the opposite many times. They say how grateful they are to have each other, that they strengthen each other in difficult times, but for some people, none of that matters, because their narrative is already established. When they get out of the military, the haters celebrate. They believe Jimin and Jungkook will split up. They believe Jungkook is finally free. However, only 4 days after discharge, Jimin and Jungkook start filming Are You Sure? Season 2.4 days, that alone is enough to refute all speculation. But still, new narratives emerge. Jungkook was forced to. It said the company pressed on. Jimin is said to be manipulating, but in the show itself, Jungkook said otherwise, that he proposed the concept, that he was the one who wanted to surprise Jimin, that he said he wants to continue next season, that he even mentioned the places he wanted to visit with Jimin. However, still it is not enough for some, because the problem is not doubt, the problem is deliberate denial. Every time Jungkook confirms that he is comfortable with Jimin, the reaction is always the same: questionable, reversed, taken out of context. Then came the dating rumors that always appear when Jimin and Jungkook are seen closest. As if there was a need to distract us, so that people do not accept one simplest explanation: they are together because they want to be together. This is where the pattern becomes very clear. Certain groups do not change their narrative despite evidence, they actually alter the evidence to fit the narrative. Video is cut, edited scenes, context is omitted, Jimin is downsized or removed, and it all culminated in one moment, hug moment. The full version shows Jungkook hugging Jimin and choosing not to let go, even after the others have already parted. That's not a coincidence, that's not a reflex, it was a conscious choice. And that is precisely what annoys some people the most, because if the moment is accepted as it is, then they have to admit one thing: Jungkook chose Jimin, that he's comfortable, that he's calm, that she's happy. That is why the moment had to be cut, obscured, reinterpreted. But body language cannot lie. Jungkook doesn't create distance, not release at first, does not show discomfort. Instead, he kept his touch, extend contact, smile calmly. A small detail that precisely destroys all false narratives. This is not about ship. It's about how some people try to rewrite reality, even if it means having to remove real people from the story. And the reality is simple: Jimin did not disappear, that he was removed, because his presence destroys the story they want to keep. Meanwhile, Jimin and Jungkook remain the same: calm down, consistent, close, and look happy. And perhaps, that is precisely what is most difficult for those who have been resisting reality for too long. And there is one more thing that is important for us to pay attention to. Whenever Jungkook's too obvious moment came up, his reaction was always the same: not a reflection, not a healthy discussion, but panic. A visible panic from how quickly the clip was cut, how quickly other versions are circulated, and how quickly its meaning is changed. To a new audience, these pieces look like truths. They only see what they have seen. It's been adjusted. It's been rewritten. If someone just entered fandom today, and just look at those cropped versions, they could have believed that Jimin and Jungkook were not close, that they rarely interact, that their bond is not important, and that's the end goal. It's not about who is more popular. It's not about ship preference. It's about who gets to tell the story. Because when reality cannot be eliminated, what it does is control how that reality looks. That is why small details are always attacked: smile, gaze, short touch, moments that for others mean nothing, but for them it is considered dangerous. Because it is these small details that prove something very simple: that Jimin and Jungkook's closeness was real, not made up, not forced, and not the outcome of the scenario. And the more they look calm, the more they look natural, the harder it is to cover it all up. But there is one thing that cannot be edited: consistency. For years, Jimin and Jungkook remained the same. Their body language does not change, the way they approach did not change, the way they feel comfortable with each other has not changed, and it is this consistency that is the most powerful evidence. Not a video, not a single clip, but that pattern keeps repeating. They don't have to defend themselves, they do not need to explain, because their actions already answer everything, and that's where the biggest irony comes in. The harder people try to deny, the more clearly the reality is seen, because no narrative can survive if it has to constantly cut reality to stay alive, and as long as Jimin and Jungkook remain themselves, stay close, stay calm, and stay sincere, the truth will always find its way.